morning, friends, and welcome once again to lecture number 13. Today, this is the last lecture regarding the background of diaspora. And, friends, I have been telling you that we are investing so much so that we can, develop a proper understanding of this whole phenomenon. And we also need to remember that the extent to which the diasporic community will feel adaptable or confident is contingent upon many factors. So one of the factors is their circumstances that have led to their migration from their host country, from their home country, and then again the kind of relationship or the kind of care that they share with their home country. So, in this lecture, I am going to talk about the government initiatives of the government of India for the diasporic community, because much depends on that. And historically, if we look at the different time frames, we'll find that the attitude of Indian government towards Indian diasporic community has been different, and that has also impacted the way these communities have responded. Mind it that uh, it is love and hate in equal measures, and it is something mutual. So it is mutual, both on the part of the host country and the home country. If the diasporic people continue to get unconditional support and care from their home country, um, that keeps them tied to their roots, and they feel obliged to always help out their country or maintain an active tie. On the other hand, if they are cared and provided for in the host country also, this again helps them adapt well to that country, and in a way that also inspires them and motivates them to help the economy grow, or carry out all the responsibilities that have been given to them with utmost dedication. So here we go. We talk about the initiatives of Indian government for its diasporic community. So as we have seen in the earlier discussions, the Indian diasporic community is one of the largest in the world, with a spread throughout the world. So the other day we looked at the world map, and we were delighted to find that the Indian communities were found in all parts of the world, uh, from extreme north to extreme south, from extreme east to extreme west. So we have one of the largest diasporic communities around the world. Although the causes of migration and the patterns of migration have been different, because people have migrated at different points in time for different pull and push factors. So, while in pre independence days, we found that the people mostly migrated as indentured laborers, especially during the colonial period, with some sprinkling of people, migrating on their own for trade and commerce purposes. And at that point in time, we found that Indian National Congress took keen interest in the welfare of overseas Indians, as is clear from Gandhi's efforts in South Africa for restoring the lost pride and honor, and citizenship rights of the Indian migrants in South Africa. However, when India got its freedom and emerged as an independent nation, and it was expected that it will take care of all its citizens wherever they are, uh, the situation was different. At that point in time, the government did not pay adequate attention to diasporic communities, and that is the reason why at that point in time many Indians were living in other countries wanted to come back to India, but unfortunately they could not do that because India did not provide them that kind of, welcome. So I quote what Desai observes. He says there were no efforts made to attract investments during the initial stages of independence in East and Central African countries, when those of Indian origin were looking for alternative destinations for economic security, and when India was their preferred destination. Consequently, out of frustration, they were forced to look towards Britain. It was estimated that in the 1970s, East and Central African Indians had deposited more than 150 million in British banks. At that time, India suffered from a chronic shortage of foreign exchange, and Indian citizens going abroad for short visits were only allowed to take $8 per head. So, when India was in need and the diasporic community of India was in a position to help it out, unfortunately, we missed out because we did not give them that kind of confidence to come back to their own country, invest, and make our economy strong. And as a result, instead of coming back to their roots, they further migrated to Britain. So, and not only that, at that point in time when they had their, emotions very high and they were being subjected to racial hatred and discrimination in African countries, and they were looking for safe havens for themselves. The best country that came to their mind was their own land, India. But unfortunately, at that point in time, the apathy of India led to a sense of, disappointment in them, and as a result, their attitude towards India uh, was something that India would never have wanted. So they stopped looking at India as an ultimate protector of their genuine interests, and as such, their money, which would have come to India and which would have contributed to the economic activities of India, went to some other country. So I quote again, Desai observes their experience when there were expulsions from Burma, now Myanmar, Zanzibar, Kenya, and Uganda contributed to this feeling. So they really felt helpless because they did not have the support of Indian government when they were subjected to, political expulsion and violence and racial discrimination as well. So again, I quote Desai, who further says that the government of India's policy in such cases was to provide humanitarian assistance, but never taking up the issues forcefully with the concerned governments. So India was trying to play safe, and they wanted to maintain their good diplomatic relationships with these countries. And again, there was this belief in Panchsheel, which stopped them from interfering, believing that these are their own internal matters. So as such, the Indian people felt helpless at that point in time, and the government policy did not help them in the need of the hour. So as a result, they felt disappointed with their motherland at that point in time. Overall, there was a strange mixture of distant paternal responsibility and a dislike for them, for they unwittingly created diplomatic problems for the government. And not only that, the government of India also felt that their people for this young nation are creating problems abroad, because the government wanted to maintain strong economic ties with all these countries. But because of the Indian population there, the situation became tensed. And so, there was a very strange kind of feeling, or we can say that the government was in some kind of confusion or doubt whether they have to openly support the Indian citizens abroad, or they have to maintain their good relationship and diplomatic ties with those governments. The then Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, had taken keen personal interest in the welfare of overseas Indian communities. However, diplomatically, India was not so assertive in protecting the rights of these people in those countries. So, Bhattacharya and Sachdev, observe, however, after independence, he gave priority to the larger foreign policy goals. He abolished the ministries of overseas Indian affairs in 1947. Anti colonialism and non alignment became major pillars of Indian foreign policy. He advised overseas Indian communities to fully identify with the country of their residence. So, as I said earlier, the Indian government post independence was playing very safe, and they did not want to meddle with the affairs of any other country, and as such, they did not come out vociferously or strongly in support of the Indians in those countries. So, but during the 1970s and 80s, the attitude towards the diasporic community changed, and especially during the reign of Rajiv Gandhi, the Indian government took lot of measures in support of the Indian diasporic community, because they realized that the Indian diasporic community is very important for them. So during that time, there was an almost compulsive relook at the policy towards the diaspora. For the first time, there was realization that the diaspora, at least in the UK and USA, could be a force if harnessed properly to explain and advance government policy aims and objectives. So it was during 1970s and 80s that the Indian government realized for the first time that the diasporic community can be handful when it comes to Indian foreign policy and again Indian economic goals. So, as a result, the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in 1984, felt that India in the developed world could be an asset in realizing his vision of India of 21st century. And as such, lot of efforts were made during this period to make them comfortable and to connect them to the country. For example, when Indians were reduced to second class citizens in Fiji, Rajiv Gandhi protested spiritedly and took this issue to the United Nations, advocating for their full citizenship rights. So, this was, in a way, the first diplomatic stand that India took in favor of the Indian diasporic community, and obviously, the people of Indian origin in Fiji felt better about it. However, the major shift in thinking towards the diasporic community came, um, we can say, in the last year of the last century. In 1999, the Government of India created the Office of Chief Commissioner NRIs in the Ministry of External Affairs So obviously they realize that they have to give special attention to the NRIs, or the people of Indian origin living abroad. In 2000, the NRI oblique PIO division, headed by an additional secretary, was created in the Ministry of External Affairs. The UPA government revived the Ministry for Overseas Indian Affairs in 2004, after a gap of say 57 years. So Desai again comments, to its credit, it was the NDA government which decided to have a comprehensive look at the problems and aspirations of the Indian diaspora, and appointed a 5 member high level committee headed by the eminent jurist Dr. L.M. Singhvi in August 2000 for that purpose. So, all these efforts, culminated in further consolidation of India's policy towards the people of Indian origin around the world. And then there were some, milestones. I can talk about PBD, that is Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. So, this is basically an annual event which is organized by the Indian government, and it was started in 2003, and it celebrates the contributions of the Indian diaspora, and provides them a platform for them to connect with each other and with India. So, every year it is celebrated on 9th of January, in which people from all over the world uh, visit India. And I mean, the Indian culture, cuisine, traditions, and celebrations are, on the show for couple of days, and these people are allowed to soak in the Indian experience, and in turn, it helps them to reconnect with their motherland emotionally, and they feel like helping it out, and say so they donate lot of money, and they also invest in commercial ventures. So that gives a big boost to Indian economy as well. So it's a kind of give and take. The people living abroad want to remain spiritually and emotionally connected to their motherland. On the other hand, the motherland, by providing them such opportunity, also expects them to help it out economically, and so this has been of mutual interest and mutual benefit to both the parties. And as part of that, they have also started Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, and it is the highest honor. And again, it was started in 2003, and it is conferred on some NRI or a PIO or an organization or institution that is established and run by the people of Indian origin overseas, for their continued good work, which has helped both the host and home country, and has been acting as a strong, bridge connecting the two countries culturally, economically, socially, and otherwise. And then again, the government of India brought out a program which is called OCI, that is Overseas Citizenship of India, and then this scheme was launched in 2005, which allows the foreign nationals of Indian origin to apply for a lifelong visa to visit India without any restrictions on the duration of stay, and also provides them with some other benefits, such as the ability to open bank accounts, buy property, and invest in India. So this has made their life very easy, and now if they want to connect with their motherland, there are no hindrances. Rather, there is a welcoming policy, and they can easily, you know visit India at any point in time, and they can also invest in India, start their businesses, and settle in India as well. So there is another initiative by the government of India which is called Pravasi Bharatiya Bima Yojana, and it is a mandatory insurance scheme which is aimed at safeguarding the interests of Indian immigrant workers falling under the immigration check required ECR category, uh, going for overseas employment to ECR countries. So this way these people are secured, and they don't feel vulnerable even if they go out of the country. There is another scheme that is called Swarna Pravas Yojana. This is new plan scheme, and it is to increase Indian workers' employability abroad by giving them the necessary training. So, the Indian government has certainly realized that their skilled, unskilled manpower, may be utilized properly by employing them abroad. That way, they will be earning handsome salaries for themselves, and at the same time they will send them back home, so that will increase the remittances of India. So as such, there are schemes in which these people are made employable so that they can go abroad and find employment. um, there is another provision that has been made, which is said the Representation of People Amendment Act 2010. As per that, the eligible NRIs are also allowed to vote. So this has again helped them take keen interest in the leadership of the country, and they have also been contributing to the governments in India, believing that they have a say in the government formation, and they can also vote for the governments that are progressive or conducive to their rights as well as the rights of India. There is another initiative which is called Indian Community Welfare Fund, ICWF, and the Indian government has established this fund to provide financial assistance to Indian nationals in distress overseas. So, friends, this can be compared to the situation when India got freedom, and immediately there were people of Indian origin, especially in Africa, who needed the support of Indian government, although they did not need financial support because they were already well off, but they nonetheless needed the support of the Indian government, which they could not find, and as a result they went to Britain and other countries rather than coming to India. So the Indian government has now realized that it has to protect the rights of its people, even if the people are living abroad. Why? Because these people are overtly uh, helping out the Indian economy and Indian image grow around the world. So, there is another initiative by the government of India, No India program. It is a flagship initiative of the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, and it aims to familiarize young Indian diasporic, children aged between 18 to 30. They are not children, but they are, young people, and they have their roots in India, and but they don't have the first hand experience of the Indian culture and Indian cuisine and the contemporary India. And that's why the Ministry of External Affairs, through its familiarizing programs, No India programs, uh, you know, uh, makes these young people realize what heritage, what stock they come from, and why they should maintain ties with India, so that helps them connect with India, emotionally, and in a way that helps them connect to India otherwise as well. There are some other schemes as well which have been listed here. Um National Pension Scheme, which I talked about earlier as well, Pravasi Tirth Darshan Yojana. All of us know that Indians are very closely tied with their religious faith, and a common Indian, starts his or her day with prayers in the temples or mosques, or whatever may be their places of worship. And that's why this is one thing that they hanker after in the foreign countries. Of late, we have seen that they have been able to impress upon the local governments to come up with temples and mosques in those countries. But nonetheless, they always want to visit their uh, you know tirth, their religious places. And that is why the Indian government has also come up with a plan to make them visit all these religious places in India. There are scholarship programs for diasporic children. um, as I said earlier, there is Indian Community Welfare Fund to help out the distressed Indians outside. They also, organize online quizzes. Bharat ko janiye. So this is again part of this No India program. So this tests the children, the diasporic children, especially their knowledge about India. So, and this also creates kind of curiosity in them to go through the history, geography, and culture of India, and to learn more and more about their motherland or the motherland of their parents. There are marital issues of Indian nationals married to overseas Indians, and there also the government comes to their protection by providing them legal help, counsels, and everything. There is another No Goa program, and all of us know Goa in India is a very popular destination where people from all over the world come. So such programs, help our economy in the sense, lot of people knowing that it's a tourist destination with treasure house of entertainment, and nature can be visited, and that way lot of people come. There are students registration portal helping out the students of India, going abroad for their studies. The present government has put a special emphasis on the diasporic community and has made several attempts to use them in the development of India. And we have seen our Honorable Prime Minister, uh, Mr. Narendra Modi, who has been visiting many countries around the world. And wherever he goes, there is huge reception of him by the Indian community, and the people of India, they all gather to listen to the Prime Minister, to put forward their views for the development of India, and again their concerns and their proposals for their motherland. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made diaspora an important element of his foreign policy, and during his foreign visits, he has addressed mammoth meetings of the community to project India's priorities and needs. So that has really helped the overseas Indians to connect with India, and they feel rejuvenated to invest in India, looking at the pro policies and the improved investment and trade and commerce conditions in India. So, uh, you know, There are various evacuation operations also that have been carried out of late by the Indian government, and it shows their commitment to the Indians. And more than once, we have seen that whenever there have been some civil wars or some calamities or uh, something like that, or some wars um, in other countries where the Indians are trapped, the Indian government has launched special operations to safely evacuate Indians from those countries. So this is something commendable, and this gives the Indians lot of confidence wherever they are, that their government, their motherland, is behind them and will help if they are in any kind of trouble. So we can mention Operation Kaveri in 2023, in which the Indians were evacuated from Sudan, Operation Ganga 2022, when the Indian students from Ukraine were rescued during the ongoing Ukraine Russia war, Operation Dev Shakti of 2021, in which the people of Indian origin were, evacuated from war torn Afghanistan, Bande Bharat mission 2020. It brought Indians who were stranded during the COVID 19 pandemic in other countries. They were brought back to India. Operation Sankat Mochan 2016, the Indians were again evacuated from South Sudan. So, several such attempts have been made, and they show the commitment and concern that the Indian government has shown towards its overseas community. So, there are many measures that are needed for the welfare of the Indian diasporic community, like they need proper consular service, they need help in the crisis, uh, they need help in organizing cultural programs in the host countries. They sometimes need legal assistance. Sometimes they need their country to stand with them when they advocate for their rights in the host countries. And again, they want that the government takes appropriate steps so that the gap between the two countries is breached. The relationships between the two countries always impact the lives of diasporic communities. So, post 9/11, we saw that people from this part of the world were easy targets in America, because a lot of Americans thought that they are the people who are responsible for the terrorist attack. So, whenever there has been some kind of problem between the two countries at the diplomatic level, this has impacted the lives of the diasporic people. So, recently we have seen that USA has sent back many people who are, of course, illegal immigrants in US. They have been deported back to India, and that has also kept the aspiring Indians in check who intend to go to US. And many people are observed saying that right now the policy of US is not that conducive, and we might wait for some time when their stands soften a bit uh, to go to these countries. The same thing happened with Canada as well, when we found that the relationships between Canada and India were strained, and as a result, the Indians were targeted in Canada. So, whenever we find that the relationships between the home country and the host country are strained, uh, you know this directly impacts the lives of the diasporic communities. So, the diasporic community always wants that their home countries should maintain cordial relationship with the host countries. So the government is taking all measures like safety and security, their grievance redressal, um, uh, creating knowledge networks and platforms. They are connecting with their diasporas, and as I said, No India program and such programs. Many cultural events are organized in these host countries, and as such, they provide an opportunity for Indians to connect to their nation, and again to show their children and their future generations, um, what a culture, what a cultural heritage they come from. um, so the government has also created a separate database for them. They have launched digital outreach programs to safeguard their interests and to keep them connected. So these are some of the very important initiatives that the government has taken. And as I said, when we talk about the diasporic experiences, there have always been highs and lows, because there have been several push and pull factors contributing to diasporas. So all through we have been talking about the different waves of Indian diaspora, the different pull and push factors. While we have free migration, we also had forced migrations, and again, all these have had uh, their impacts on the lives of these diasporic people. If we are enjoying the contributions made by the diasporic people of late, if we are using them as our soft power, and they have been helping us out in the growth of our economy and are contributing significantly in our developmental and social projects. This has been possible because our governments have also realized that they have to get connected to our overseas community. So these are some of the very important initiatives, and they will help out when we talk about the Indian uh, novel as such, because these intricacies will also inform the experiences of the people abroad, and they will help us in proper understanding of the fiction of Indian diaspora. So friends, for now, these are some of the references that you can refer to. For now, this is all, and in the next class we are going to talk about the fiction of Indian diaspora and its contributions. So thank you very much for your kind attention. Let us continue in the next class. Thank you.